Want to buy a house in Miami or in South Florida? Then you better get ready for a war. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sharon Colon, your favorite real estate agent in Miami, Florida. So you may have heard about how crazy and on fire the market is here, right? Maybe you have heard about bidding wars, or you have driven by to a house with a big line outside and with people waiting to see a property that is holding an open house. Does that sound familiar to you? Right? Well, sit down and get ready as I tell you with different examples of how you could win these battles in today's market, okay? Let's start. First of all, I need to say that you need to hire a knowledgeable realtor to your side, okay? We are in different markets and you need someone who understands everything that is going on in today's market. But Sharon, how I know that? Like, how can I find that person? Simple, my friend. Just ask the right questions. You know that you can interview that person, right? And you can also ask if that person comes with a team of professionals to recommend you throughout the process, right? Yeah, well, you now know. So let me give you different scenarios of 2 presented offers in today's market so you can understand and learn a little about our market, okay? And keep in mind that what sellers are getting are multiple offers, not just two offers, okay? So you want your offer to stand out from the rest. And by stand out, I mean to present your best terms on the contract at the very beginning, okay? Let's start with the example of let's say a single family home listed at $500,000, okay? So number one, seller receive offer number one, $500,000, meaning full price, with a full DU or pre-approval letter from a local lender. And offer number two, $510,000 without pre-approval letter. So who do you think the seller will select after evaluating the offers? Well, of course, the one with the pre-approval or DU document. Listen, the seller at that moment, the seller will feel that the offer number two is not a serious buyer, okay? Also, in today's market, a realtor letting you send an offer without getting you pre-approved should be automatically a red flag for you, okay? If you're a serious buyer, under any circumstances, let your realtor send an offer without being pre-approved. Pretty much, or in other words, get a professional realtor. Now, I need to make myself clear with the following example because it's kind of the same, but from another perspective. So, example number two, first offer, $510,000, same, with a pre-approval letter from a local lender, right? And offer number two, $515,000, receive with pre-approval letter from a big bank, okay? Who do you think the seller will select after evaluating the offers? In this case, the seller may ask their agent to help him or her with this. In most cases, I will say that when the buyer is pre-approved with a big bank, the person from the bank who will initially be assisting the buyer will be out of state or city, meaning a change of time zone. So, having a person out of your area will be more difficult, right? To communicate, and the seller wants something easier, and it will be harder for the seller, right? And second, since big banks are handling so many files at the same time, you as a buyer and your agent may be dealing with different people during the process. And let me tell you, this is not convenient for you as a buyer and for your agent. On the other hand, if you work with a local lender, you could absolutely avoid all of that, okay? Including if you're working with an excellent, like a professional agent, and you really like this X property, and you are in a multiple offer situation, your agent could contact your lender to let him or her know to immediately contact the listing agent and present themselves, right? That will help and give kind of peace of mind for the listing agent. And that is a pretty much a great strategy and a plus when you deal with the local lender. And again, having a local lender will definitely be more accessible throughout the transaction, making the selling process for the seller easier. Example number 3, let's say seller received offer number 1, $510,000, fully pre-approved, right? And offer number 2, $520,000, a finance buyer, fully pre-approved, and contingent on selling another house. So who do you think the seller will select after evaluating the offers? The seller will select offer number 1 since it doesn't have any contingencies. In this scenario, it could be very risky for the seller, the idea of having a contingency in the middle. Why? Why, Sharon? Because something could go wrong during the sale of your house. Simple. You do have other options, so your offer could stand out, and that is what you ultimately want, right? An example of that is, an example of this is to sell your house first and find a place to rent for a while until you find a house. You know, I get it. It's not exciting, but at the end will give you more time to find the home that you want, right? Example number 4. Let's say the seller received offer number 1 with $510,000, received finance buyer, fully pre-approved, and 10 days inspection period. And offer number 2, $515,000, received finance buyer, full pre-approved, and a 5 days inspection period. So who do you think the seller will select after evaluating the offers? The seller will select offer number 2 since it does have fewer days of inspection period, okay? Sellers want to sell, okay? They want to sell. Having a longer inspection period will waste the seller's time. You know that? What the inspection period means is that the buyer could decide to back out from the buying process and get their deposit back in full. In that scenario, again, the seller will waste time and money, so they want to sell and to get the lesser time inspection period possible, right? So if something inspection related goes wrong after the inspection period, at least the seller could keep the deposit. So yes, the sellers get concerned about getting a longer time frame inspection contingency. And if you can make a short inspection contingency, the better. Anyways, you have enough time for you to schedule an appointment, and the inspector will still be going to all their work and get a report from them. Here I have to say and refer you again to my initial point about having a professional agent working on your side. Again, another thing is that they're gonna be reminding you all your deadlines, but having a team like working with other previous inspection companies gives you peace of mind. Absolutely. Example number 5. First offer, $520,000 received, finance buyers fully pre-approved, 5 days inspection period, and appraisal contingency. And buyers willing to put from their pocket up to $5,000 if the appraisal comes below purchase price. And offer number 2, $510,000 received, finance buyer, fully pre-approved, 5 days inspection period, appraisal contingency waived. Who do you think the seller will select after evaluating the offers? This one you could think could be a little tricky, right? The seller will select offer number 2. Even though buyers are offering to put from their pocket X amount, buyers in offer number 2 are waiving the appraisal process. But Sharon, what means for me as a buyer to waive my appraisal contingency? That means that you have agreed to pay the difference from your pocket, okay, between the purchase price and what the house may appraise for if the report comes below the purchase price. Again, your realtor should make their homework, getting you the comparables to give you a better idea, right? Example number 6 is first offer is $510,000 received, cash buyer contingent of selling their other home, okay? In offer number 2, $520,000 received, financed buyer, fully pre-approved, 5 days inspection period, and appraisal contingency waived. Who do you think the seller will select after evaluating the offers? This one is very tricky. It is. So based on the terms of the contract and depending on what the seller think is less risky for the seller could select offer number 2. Having a cash buyer is great, right? But again, having someone waiving the appraisal contingency versus a buyer who still need to sell their house could be riskier for the seller. So depending on the terms, of course, cash could win over other offers, right? Yes, the process could be easier and faster with cash. However, as we saw, not always is going to win. Also, it really depends on what terms are going to work for the seller. So yeah, the seller may surprise you by selecting your financed offer over a cash buyer. Now, what other things you could do to stand out? Remember, you're just not competing only against one offer. Sellers are getting 10 plus offers in our market in most of these scenarios. Besides sending an offer as high as you can possibly can, maybe waiving inspection period or appraisal contingency, right? Of course, that certainly takes you some of your protection, okay? Keep that in mind. But if you are in a position that you can have $10, $15, $20,000 on your pocket to cover the difference to stand out, then by all means, go ahead. Another thing is to offer the seller a concession of maybe 1, maybe 2 months free rent so the seller could find another place. You could offer to close on a later closing date. Also, you can increase your initial deposit amount. That's another thing. And if you still would like to do an inspection, you could let the seller know that you would like to have it. However, will be for your knowledge only and won't be asking for any repairs. But at least you still be, covered getting your deposit back if the report comes really bad. So you can use any or all of those combinations. In fact, almost all offers are having almost all of that, what I just mentioned, okay? That is why the market is so competitive right now. I have to say to always listen to your realtor's recommendations, okay? Because your realtor is the expert who knows and understands the market. Always be realistic and understand what is happening in our South Florida market right now. Okay, listen, be open to strategies, be open to listen, be open to the idea that you will in fact be competing against a lot of people, okay? Also, don't get disappointed. At the beginning, you may lose your first offers until you win the right one for you. So yes, you may have to send several offers on several homes before you get it. When we talk about new communities, you won't have a lot of competition, of course, but you will find that some developers are not offering the same incentives as before, that prices are increasing weekly or something like that, and that they are controlling opening the lot. Or maybe that you need to wait more time until your house is built, right? But definitely you won't have that much competition. You could have more control. I will be doing a video of what the buyers are seeing in today's market when dealing with new construction, because I think this is a very interesting topic because, again, this has changed. We are in another market. Now more than ever, you need a realtor. If you want to know more information about living in Miami or in South Florida, you can get a free relocation guide and other guides below in the description box below. And you can always reach out to me using the forms below by going to my website, for example, contacting me directly by phone, email, or sending me a DM through social media. If you found this video helpful, let me know by hitting that like button, subscribing to my channel, and sharing this video with your friends. And remember to be nice and be kind. See you next Thursday. Bye-bye.